inside you breathing. You know it never feels good to have to slowly watch your petty flame dissolve.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to ditch the car and start rollerblading to work.
I look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous!
You don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your organs on the black market.
Lie back. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, that hurts.
You don't need to rent out your apartment to drifters.
I made a fire with the wood in your bedroom.
That's my dresser!
And your closet door.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad O'Clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey you, what are you listening to?
Oh, it's South Landlocked Plateau, the best of bubblegum pop.
That's garbage. You should be listening to NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you.
Hello and welcome to Split View with Kramer and Josh on North Coast Underground. We air every Tuesday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Each episode, we discuss a wide variety of topics ranging from the local news to the national news. We also pick one conspiracy theory to explore each week, and we do it all with our unique personalities on display. So come hang out with us and have a laugh. Pick a side and join in. Now, here's Kramer and Josh with Split View.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Split View. I'm going to have to make you go in and change that intro to say 3 o'clock-ish to 4 o'clock.
I feel like I should.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking responsibility today, even though, I mean, it was a human thing. I couldn't really fight it. I had to pee, all right? And I have a hour and 15-minute drive up here, and my morning routine, like, I get up, and one of the first things I do is I drink a whole energy drink, and I'll go to the bathroom before I leave, but it seems like no matter what, if I'm on a long drive, by the time I get to where I'm going, I'm about to explode. So, yeah, I had to pull off on, like, Brecksville Road and find a McDonald's to pee behind. It was a whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So you went on a whole adventure then.
Yep, Kramer does what Kramer wants.
This show starts on Kramer time.
I mean, preferably it starts at 3 o'clock, but it just seems like something always happens.
Yes, with one of us.
But it's 3 o'clock-ish here every Tuesday. Josh and I come together and do Split View. We're well into our second season now. It's like the 8th episode of our second season. We've been doing this together for a while. We talk about local news and U.S. news, and we kind of compare our different views. But we start off by talking about how our past week went. So, Joshua, how you been? Oh, I always forget you don't like being called that.
You're fine, Jeremy.
It's fine. Call me Jeremiah. That would be the version for me. 'Cause
okay, Jeremiah.
That's actually not even my name either, but people always think it is. Well, actually, let me ask you. On your birth certificate, does it say Josh or?
No, it says Joshua.
Okay, see, so that's a little different. But you can be called what you want to be called, Josh. And how have you been doing?
Yes, my full name is Joshua. It's just that I prefer to go by the name Josh.
I mean, I accept it, I guess.
But past week has been good. Nothing too crazy. We had the job fair last night, which that was pretty good.
Yeah, we air here out of the Ohio Media School. We're both graduates of the radio, television, broadcast program. Josh, you're doing sports emphasis now.
Yes,
and I've just kind of been looking for work. But they had a job fair last night, so we came up here and got to meet a bunch of people. And my whole thing on being on the radio is I'm going to be completely honest, always, no matter what the situation is. So with all respect to Ohio Media School and thanks for what they do and did for us, I kind of had mixed feelings about last night. You know, it's great to be able to meet people and talk to people in the industry who have the power to hire, but none of them really seemed all that interesting in hiring anybody. And I'm at this point with my life and my career where I'm starting to get a little frustrated, you know, because it's like I want to take this next step. And everybody you talk to kind of has this attitude of, well, what have you done so far? Let me see what you've done. And I need a chance to do something before I can show what I've done, you know? And, like, I'll try to show them the stuff we've done here at school or the stuff we've done on our own, and they just don't take it seriously. So I feel this frustration of, like, needing somebody to take a chance on me. I just want somebody to be like, here, come do this real basic job. Give me a chance to show that I can show up and do what I'm supposed to do.
Right. I get that.
Yeah, I'm just a little frustrated, I guess. And I prefer to be honest with people. So that's just where I'm at with that right now.
Yeah, I understand that. I get where you're coming from with that. I kind of had mixed feelings about it also, but of course, you know what booth I gunned for right away.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's not even a question.
You know, Josh wants to do sports radio, so he went over and talked to ESPN, I'm sure, Odyssey, I'm sure you talked to, and iHeart, I would guess.
Yep. And what was the booth next to Channel 5?
Oh, it was Radio 1, 93 point something.
I thought it was 97.3.
Possibly. I don't know.
Either way, I actually talked to them and expressed that I would be interested in doing like this same type of show because I was telling them before coming to Ohio Media School, it was sports all the way. And then once I started doing this show with you, I'm like, oh, I actually can do this type of like talk show.
I think you could, very much so. Yeah, I'm just slightly frustrated, but it also makes me realize that I need to start shooting more for like smaller stations. I feel like the best opportunities for us at this point would be to find a smaller station willing to take a chance on us and try to build up some kind of reputation.
I'm so tempted to start singing Take a Chance on Me right now, but I'm not going to.
Well, people need to. I don't even know what song that is, but they do need to take a chance
on me.
I made you sing it.
Darn it.
Yeah, that's been
I
it.
lose.
That's pretty much been it for this week. I've been playing a whole bunch of guitar, which is nothing new. Trying to get better and better. I think my goal, I just paid for a whole other year of that app, and as far as music go, I think my goal is to like keep practicing the way I have been for another year, which has been real hardcore, and get to a point where I'm just going to start my own band. So any musicians out there, give me about a year. It's going to be time to start a Kramer band.
Okay. What are you going to call it? The Kramers?
I'm not sure yet. I'm honestly not sure. It's probably going to involve Kramer somehow.
All right. I look forward to it.
So that's been it for our week. Next up, I like to pick out personality questions. And we kind of go through this towards the end of the first segment. Here in a moment, we will hit our first break. And during our breaks on this show, we don't go for commercials. We like to showcase local music. And there's a band called The Scenic Route that I've been playing a lot of. I enjoy them. And we're going to hear a song by them called On a String when we go to our first break. But first, for this week's personality questions. Do you sympathize with people who are going through a tough time? And I kind of picked this specifically because the way the discourse in this country has been going, the discussion about politics, and it seems like everybody's at everybody's throats the past couple months, but really like the past couple years.
It does seem like that. You're right.
But one thing I can always sympathize with is somebody who's having a tough time, and it doesn't even really matter what with, but I can tell when somebody's stressed out and they're at their lowest and they're having a hard time. And I bring this up, with the politics side to say even people who I disagree with, I can see when they're going through a tough time, and I still feel sympathy for them. Even people I don't really like. I don't want bad things necessarily to happen to them. I wish they would grow as people maybe, but I don't want bad things to happen.
Makes sense.
So overall, yeah, I would have to say I sympathize with people going through a tough time.
I would agree for the most part. There might be like an exception here or there, but I would agree largely to the same extent.
Next up, do you tackle tasks right away or procrastinate until the last minute? I'll let you take this one first, Josh.
I'm more of a procrastinator. I'm trying to change that, but given that I have some learning differences, that can be hard because it's like I know I have a task to do, but then it's like, oh, I see something over there.
A little ADHD, huh?
Yes.
I already forgot what the question was. No, procrastination. Yeah, I procrastinate all the time. It's one of my worst things. I tell people a lot that I work great with a deadline, and I do. But it's because what I'll normally end up doing is I'll put it off, and then the night before be like, oh, now I have to do it. It's due tomorrow. And then kind of like all my ideas will come out, and I'll be able to put it down.
Right.
But I'm just horrible at getting things done early.
Yeah, sometimes I'm good at it. Other times it's just, nah.
Two more. Would you rather read a book or watch television?
That's easy. Watch TV.
And this is where we differ. If I have a good book, and I read a lot when I was in prison. The library was something that we always had available. So I got into like all different kinds of books, true books, nonfiction, fiction books, murder mysteries, history books. And pretty much, so I can read a lot. And if I find any book that I'm interested in, I would take that over TV. But it has to be a book I'm interested in.
Right. I prefer audiobooks.
Yeah, you've told me that before. Growing up, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was a real sports kid. I played baseball, played like mini football and stuff, pee-wee football. And I would never read or do anything like that. I got into an accident one day where I was trying to climb a fence on a Memorial Day weekend where it was raining, and I slipped and literally cut off my finger. Like, it ended up having to be stitched on. There's still a scar there.
Oh, jeez.
But I wasn't able to do anything for the summer that followed that. I wasn't able to play any sport, really even go outside or play. Like, I had to keep my hand immobile. So my sister had this big box of books, and she gave it to me, and it was like her old books, a few years older than me. So it was like the Babysitter's Club and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm not going to read this garbage. And then a couple weeks passed, and I got so bored I started reading them, and I actually got into it. Like, even the worst books I ended up getting into, and to this day I love to read.
Huh. I've tried to get into books, and like I'm able to power through some of them, but it's just like I cannot hold my focus long enough to like flip through pages and actually like read the story and all that.
I'd say it's really important that you find a book you're interested in. James and I last night, James is on our sports show, So What's the Catch? We always plug this at least once, so might as well do it here. You can catch us tomorrow, 2 to 4, right?
Yes.
On the same station. You've got to go over to the All Sports Cleveland part.
Correct.
On North Coast Underground. And we'll be on tomorrow. But our buddy from that show, he was talking yesterday about a book that takes place in the 70s, and it was like the history of baseball kind of intertwined with the Son of Sam serial killer case, which was a big true crime thing.
Oh, yeah. What was the name of it?
I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him again tomorrow because I want to look for that book. That's a kind of book I think you do well with.
Yeah.
It has a lot of sports history and sports facts that I think would keep it interesting for you.
Yeah. It's like recently I've been reading a lot of like books that have to do with broadcasters and stuff. Like,
that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm willing to read like stories and stuff too. It doesn't always have to include sports, but that seems to grab my attention more.
And there's nothing wrong with, I think, following up on something that you're interested in. it's a fine line to walk. You kind of want to have other interests too, but if it's getting you to read, I think it's a great thing. Even if it is sports.
Yeah.
Last but not least, before we go into this first break, what was the happiest period of your life up to now? And I would have to say for me, it's been the past year. And that's even with the frustration that I'm dealing with right now of having graduated and not being sure what to do. Still, the past year has been the best of my life. And I stress out a lot worrying about like what the next step is. But then I'll try to think of this quote. And I don't remember the exact wording, but it's something along the lines of that when you're climbing a mountain, the best part isn't getting to the top. It's about the climb. You should enjoy the climb as you're going up.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to worry so much about what's next. And in the meantime, like if I look at what's going on in my life, I've been clean for a couple of years. I have this beautiful granddaughter. Jane and I, together for 10 years, never been better.
That's amazing.
Graduated from school. Things are going pretty darn well for me right now. And I've used this as the last question right now, almost for me to remind myself of that. But
I can tell that.
Yeah, it's important for me to remember that in this frustration that things are still good for me right now.
You know what? I'm not even going to answer this question. I'm just going to let you have your moment.
Okay, then. Well, we are going to hit our first break then, and you are going to be listening to the Scenic Route do On a String. When we come back, though, we're going to get into U.S. news, including one that Josh just hit me to that I'm going to have to read, but it said White House announces U.S. diplomatic boycott of 2022 Winter Olympics in China. So that's a big deal politically. And I also have some stories about flash mob robberies and a Surgeon General warning of emerging youth mental health crisis. And we will be
right back.
You're listening to Split View, and we will be right back.
Hey, ever had a passion for broadcast media radio? Come to Ohio Media School and receive hands-on training from industry professionals in the field of TV, radio, and film. Be a part of our student-ran radio station. Ohio Media School helps grads find job placement prior to receiving their diploma. We have 7 locations, but we're located at 9885 Rockside Road in Valley View, Ohio. Visit us online at beonair.com or call us at 216-242-4342. Ohio Media School. We change lives.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh.
Hello and welcome back,
Mr. Cotter,
to today's edition of Split View. I'm not sure what's going on with our Wi-Fi here at school, but it looks like all of a sudden the internet's not working, which is never good.
No.
I got stories pulled up, though, for this segment, so we're fine. But I'm just going to say now that the local news portion might be interesting today, because I might have to pull it up on our phones. But anyways, moving forward into today's U.S. news, Josh, you told me this headline when I came in today, and I haven't even watched the news yet. And if I had, I'm sure I would have saw this major breaking news as the White House announces a U.S. diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing.
Yes, it is a result of human rights concerns going on in China. The subheader from NBC News is that President Biden was considering the move last month under mounting pressure from lawmakers.
What this comes down to is it's been going on for decades and decades and years, but China has ongoing genocide, crimes against humanity stuff, basically human rights violations against their own citizens. They're a communist dictatorship of a nation, but they are such a big nation, an economically strong nation, that we can't afford not to do business with them. So even though we're a democratic country and we want to have freedom for everybody, and we don't want to support. There you go. We don't want to support evil dictators, but it seems like they kind of have to in this situation. But
right. I mean, if you look, like a bunch of the stuff that we buy, the tags say "Made in China."
Yeah. This will be first time in a while that the United States has boycotted Olympic. The last time they fully boycotted Olympic was in 1980, but this was just a way to start letting China know, supposedly what Joe Biden said, quote, was to let China know that we are not going to be doing business the same way as usual. And it sounds good, I'm glad to know that they're doing something, but it's kind of silly, if you want me to be completely honest.
In what way?
It's a sports event. And they're still sending athletes. They're not, in 1980 when they pulled out, they didn't even send athletes. And they're still sending their athletes. They're just not going to make an official delegation. They're not going to send government people over there to be a part of it and be part of the celebration of it. But it's just kind of like...
So you think that China's just going to kind of laugh it off?
China has been laughing at us and been laughing it off for decades and decades. And yeah, this is just another thing for them to laugh at. Joe Biden had a meeting with the president of China a couple months ago, and it was a 3.5-hour meeting, and it came out afterwards that pretty much all they did was argue the entire time. Like, we do not have good relations with that country.
No.
We're pretty much trying to keep it at a point where we're not going to war with them.
And yet over here we have like Chinatowns across the country, and we have like Chinese restaurants and stuff like that.
We love the Chinese culture over here. I love Chinese food.
Same.
And I'm really interested in Eastern religion, but the world kind of changed in the 1920s and 1930s when China and Russia had communist revolutions, and ever since then, it's just been difficult to deal with China. But this is Joe Biden's next move, and we'll see what happens from there.
So you think that this, if I'm hearing you correctly, you think that this is just kind of like shake it off, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, and I think Joe Biden knows that. I think it's something they're doing to try to act like they're doing something, if that makes sense. They don't want to do anything real. They don't want to go to war with China. They don't want to do a boycott against China because it would ruin us economically. So instead they're like, well, we're not going to come to your party.
So you think it would, let's say the U.S. completely came out and said, we're going to completely boycott. We're not sending any athletes, nothing. Would that make a bigger impact?
I think it would make a bigger statement. It still wouldn't really make an impact, though, because it's not changing the way we do things. We're still doing the same trade deals with China. We still have the same situation. Nothing changes at that point.
Sure, but
I think it would say more.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think it's also like, when you think of the Olympics, the U.S. is like, arguably, the U.S. is the first country that comes to your mind. Am I wrong in that
No,
sense?
I mean, you're right to a degree. It's hard for me to say because we live in America. So, of course, that's what we hear about, Right. I don't know if it's the same across the country. But, yeah, from what we know, I would say that, yeah, we're a pretty big deal.
And I'm not trying to assume that they think of America right away and say,
I think
like,
a lot of
Italy
sports you would. I think a lot of sports, like basketball and things like that, you're going to think America with the NBA and...
Right. Yeah. I'm not trying to make assumptions about what other countries are thinking or anything like that. I'm sure Greece probably thinks of Greece first because wasn't Greece the site of the very first Olympic Games?
Yes, sir.
So.
Yeah. So that's going on. At the same time, another tragic and more recent situation is going on here in the U.S. Have you heard of flash mob robberies?
I have not.
Well, this is a new thing going on during the Christmas and holiday season. Have you ever heard of a flash mob even?
Yes, I have.
Now, flash mobs are usually coordinated things going on with like social media where people will meet up at a certain event and sometimes they'll choreograph like dance moves in a traditional flash mob, and it's just meant to go viral.
I'm pretty sure Howie Mandel hosted a show about it on Fox where somebody had some important message for somebody else, and they made a whole flash mob about it, and in the end it was oh honey, we're pregnant, or will you marry?
So a pregnancy thing, or I kind of remember that actually, but it's no matter what, it's been a big thing in media for a couple of years now. Different radio announcers have done it. It's been a way for Apple to release products through flash mobs. Well, now criminals are getting involved.
Oh no.
See, what they've realized, apparently, is that during Christmas and from Black Friday until the week after Christmas, there is a lot of extra product in stores, more than usual. Well, what people have been doing is they've been organizing mobs to hit stores, and it's already been stores as varied as Nordstrom, Best Buy, Home Depot, and they just go in and just do these large-scale, what they call smash and grabs. So, for an example, on Black Friday, a crew of 8 went into a Home Depot in Lakewood, California, and stole $400 worth of sledgehammers, crowbars, and hammers, and then all ran out the door before any of them could be stopped. In another incident, a group ransacked a boutique, fancy upper clothes store in Los Angeles, and 30 people swarmed a Best Buy near Minneapolis, grabbing all their high-end electronics. So this has been going on all over the country. They say the worst hit spots have been Chicago and Los Angeles. But this could be going on in Ohio. It's been going on pretty much everywhere.
Wow. Seriously, I had not heard about that.
This has been the first time I've ever heard about this. This is something new that's just been going on this year. But I don't want to say I support it. I don't support it. It's a bad thing to be doing, obviously.
Of course.
But it makes sense. If you're going to try to steal, I guess I see why they would do it in that form. Because you're not going to get caught. In theory, if you have 8 people running in and running out, they're not going to be able to catch one. And this time of year is when everything is in stores.
It does feel like that. You're right.
But for me, the people that really I'm worried for are the people working there. It sucks that the company's losing all this product and they're losing money, but these multi-million-dollar corporations are going to be okay. They're going to get through it. But then you have people who work at these stores who are in the middle of all this craziness who could get hurt. And then after somebody does this to a store, they probably have to shut the place down to clean up and fix it and get more product in, during which time anybody who works there is going to be out of a job. It just seems really selfish to me.
It does. You're right. And you were talking about how they're going to have to shut the place down. They're probably not going to get unemployment.
Oh, no. Nope.
So, it's how do they sustain themselves?
Yeah, the Best Buy chief executive actually made a statement about this in particular, saying it's made it more difficult to hire staff, saying it's a real issue that hurts and scares real people, traumatizing for our associates, and it is unacceptable. It's even resulted in a few injuries as 2 Nordstrom employees were assaulted and pepper sprayed November 20th.
Assaulted and pepper sprayed?
Yep, after an estimated 80 people rushed the Walnut Creek store.
Good Lord.
So they are bringing weapons as well. Man, kids today have gone crazy, huh?
Yes.
And that leads me to my next story.
Oh, no.
Surgeon General is warning of emerging of a youth mental health crisis in his rare recent public advisory after the effects of the pandemic are starting to become obvious. We've talked about this before. I've brought up that after all this time people have spent isolation and going through like losing jobs and all the stress of this pandemic, you're going to see more mental health problems. And this is just kind of a part of that.
It totally makes sense.
And citing evidence of ongoing harm, U.S. Surgeon General Murthy on Tuesday issued the public health advisory on mental health challenges confronting youth. He called an action to address and said it's an emerging crisis exacerbated by pandemic hardships. He said symptoms of depression and anxiety have doubled during the pandemic, with 25% of youth experience depressive symptoms and about 25% experience anxiety. In early 2021, they say emergency department visits in the United States for suicide attempts for teenagers were 51% higher. So that's just a crazy number right there.
Yeah, that is a crazy number, but I'm actually surprised it's not higher. I would have thought that the way teenagers are these days, it seems like they want to be out and about and doing all this stuff. So for the number to only be at 51, yeah, that's crazy high, but at the same time, it actually feels a little bit low, if you get what I mean.
It seems high to me. I don't know. I worry, I guess, because I have a granddaughter, so like anything seems high to me. I don't care if it's 2%.
It depends on your perception.
Yeah, it definitely depends on your perception. When I was talking about like the violence though and these flash mob robberies that we were talking about just before this, that can be another effect of that too. Some kids are going to act out and be depressed or have anxiety. Other kids are going to do stupid stuff like that though.
Right.
And so just because they're not having depression from that, they might still be having issues from the pandemic. Well, we are going to take a quick break. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about on the other side because I still don't have any internet, but we will find something. And this time during the commercial, you're going to listen to local band Avarice do their song Bottom of the Bottle. We will be right back.
Right back.
Right back.
Can I get some Cool Whip?
Cool Whip.
You're listening to Split View, and we will be right back.
Life ain't so good, and everything I know you're gonna take.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm Jenny.
I'm Andrew.
And we're the Scenic Route.
Don't go there. Wait, don't go that way. I'm always picking up the pieces, cleaning up the mess you made.
You're listening to NorthCoastUnderground.com,
where the underground starts with you.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh.
Hey, yo, and welcome back.
Welcome
back to Split Hue. That doesn't work.
Hey, Brian, can I get some wheat thins?
Some wheat thins. This is our local news, and I'm kind of just pulling it from my butt because we don't have any internet in here, so I'm working with what I have.
We're flying by the seat of our pants.
But I know Josh, first of all, Josh, we do this sports podcast, and I'm kind of curious. If you take hockey, basketball, and baseball, let's leave out football. Hockey, basketball, and baseball, what's your favorite sport out of those?
Oh, you're making me take UFC out of it, too?
Yep, hockey, basketball, baseball.
That was weird. Hockey, basketball, baseball. Oh, that's close between hockey and basketball.
See, I figured you would say hockey, because Josh has, and it kind of surprised me when I first met him, you are a big hockey fan.
Yeah.
And there's apparently some local hockey news.
Yes. So, for those of you who might not know, the Cleveland Monsters are the AHL, that's American Hockey League, affiliate of the Columbus Blue Jackets. It has been that way since the 2015-2016 season. And the Blue Jackets and Monsters just announced a multi-year extension to remain NHL and AHL affiliates. Now, before the Monsters were affiliated with the Blue Jackets, they were actually affiliated with the Colorado Avalanche from 2007 to 2015.
I definitely did not know that.
Yes. And then the Blue Jackets were affiliated with the Syracuse Crunch from 2000 to 2010, and then the Springfield Falcons from 2010 to 2015. Monsters have had a lot of success during their time while affiliated with the Blue Jackets. They won the Calder Cup in 2016. That's like the championship equivalent, or that's the championship at the AHL level. They've had a couple other playoff appearances, I should say. They've posted 4 or 5 winning seasons, so yeah, it's been a good relationship.
And I think if nothing else, hockey fan or not, as a local person, you have to appreciate that these teams are going to be bringing in more business, more tourism, more money.
Right.
Period. Point blank to the city.
Right. I've tried to push hard at times that Cleveland should get an NHL team.
Yes, you have.
And, it's hard. And I think part of the reason is because I'm a big hockey fan. But Cleveland is in such a tough place when it comes to hockey in terms of the NHL, because you have Detroit 2 hours north, you have Pittsburgh approximately 2 hours east, you've got Chicago 6 hours west, because there's nothing in Indianapolis or Indiana, and then you have Columbus 2 hours to the south. So it's like Cleveland's a bit of a melting pot, if you will, or a black hole when it comes to...
Yeah, and even outside of geography, I can say, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never thought of Ohio as a hockey area. There's not a whole lot of hockey fans around here.
Well, that's because we're in Northeast Ohio. If you were to go down to Columbus, you would see a lot of Blue Jacket stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They got the Blue... And that's really one of the only Columbus teams, isn't it?
Yes, Columbus only has... Removing Ohio State, Columbus only has...
I don't consider that. Yeah, Ohio.
Yeah, Columbus only has 2 teams. They have the Blue Jackets, and then they have Major League Soccer, the Columbus Crew.
So if there was to be an NHL here, it may be Columbus.
Yeah, well, Columbus already has a team.
An NHL, I mean. NHL team.
Yeah,
Oh, that's an NHL team?
Yes.
I thought that was See, I don't know nothing about hockey, Judd. I thought that was minor league hockey.
No, the Monsters are the minor league affiliate of the Blue Jackets.
Now I understand.
Yes.
Well, two things I do know that are sometimes involved with hockey. Blood and alcohol. Am I wrong?
No.
Well, I have stories about both of those to cap this off.
Okay.
Alcohol. Ohio has a grand idea now, and they are pushing forward with it, the Ohio Liquor Bottle Lottery. Josh, you are not a drinker. If I'm correct, you've never drank at all, right?
No.
So I feel like you might be surprised to know there are certain kinds of liquors, fancy ones that have been distilled in small batches locally, that are worth a lot of money.
That is actually not surprising to me at all. Yes, I'm not a drinker, but I know stuff about beer and alcohol and various stuff. It's not like I'm clueless.
Well, the Ohio Division of Liquor Control is now accepting entries for its bottle lottery that will provide winners with the opportunity to purchase liquor bottles that are in limited supply. So I thought this was a little strange. It's a lottery, but if you win it, you just win the right to buy these bottles that they have in small amounts. You don't win them for free. You still have to pay for them. They say that with many of the highly sought-after liquor products only distilled in small quantities, the Ohio Division of Liquor Control is going to hold this bottle lottery to ensure that the small shipments are fairly distributed when sent across the state. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
They go on to say that any Ohio resident of legal drinking age with a valid driver's license or state-issued ID can enter. And I feel like even though you're not a drinker, this might be like a good investment. Like if you could enter in this even as a non-drinker and win, then you could buy these, turn them around and sell them probably for 5 or 10 times as much. But anyways,
I didn't even think about that, but now that you mention it, totally makes sense.
They say, I'm always thinking about how to turn a dollar. They say that the products offered in this latest lottery are, and I found this interesting just because of the prices, Eagle Rare 17, 100 bottles, $100. Old Rip Van Winkle 10, $70. Pappy Van Winkle 15, $120. Papal Van Winkle 20, $200. Or a Pappy Van Winkle 23 for $300.
That's a lot of dope.
It's a lot of money. And that's like fair market price. If you buy that and turn around and sell it and make a profit on it, you could probably sell it for double that. But Ohioans can enter each lottery one time. An entry can be submitted for multiple bottles, but winners are only eligible to select one bottle after winning. Selected in the lottery, the winner then has the opportunity to purchase that limited quality bottle.
So I know you have a story about blood, but I actually just found, I'm looking on Facebook, and I see a story from Cleveland.com 6 minutes ago. Due to a major outage Tuesday with Amazon Web Services, Cleveland.com is unable to post any new articles to our website. However, all content posted earlier in the day is still available to read on Cleveland.com. Reporters are working on news stories and will post them as soon as we're able to. The issue, which began around 10:30 a.m., is causing widespread outages, including on Disney+, Amazon Prime Music, and Alexa products.
So if you are having trouble getting any of those apps, that's why. Also, breaking news from, yesterday, but I forgot to mention it in the U.S. part of our show, Bob Dole died.
I heard about that.
You remember Bob Dole? That was a little before your time, but you probably remember it from history and that.
Yeah, I think so.
He ran for president in 1996 across from Bill Clinton. I was only like 8 years old myself, but I do remember him.
I can do an impression of Bill Clinton. I'm not sure I should do it on the radio, though.
Probably not. Last but not least, Red Cross locally is going to be seeking blood donations due to historically low levels of supply. Talking about our hockey story earlier, I figured maybe they can just go on down to, the arena and pick it up from there.
I love it.
They say that they're seeking blood donations after the historically low levels. They say this on Tuesday. Holiday schedules, breaks from school, and winter weather are all contributing factors to a drop in blood and platelet donations. And they say that they're at a point where some patients relying on transfusions may not receive blood they need. They say if more donors don't come forward to give blood, some patients requiring a transfusion may potentially face delays in care.
Have you ever donated blood?
I have. There's a local blood donation spot. They do a Red Cross a couple blocks over from me that I've hit before.
I've done it once.
To encourage donations, all who come in to give blood from December 17th through January 2nd will receive an exclusive Red Cross long sleeve shirt, which would be nice to have with all this cold weather lately.
Yeah.
Anywho, I don't think we were airing that entire time.
Yeah, my mom just texted me saying, maybe it's just my phone, but I can't hear you. I can hear the other show that's on the All Sports Cleveland channel.
Yeah, I forgot to press a button. Well, we are going to go to a commercial and try to figure this out.
Yeah.
Damn. I just looked at my phone and Jane's like, is the show over?
And we will be right back.
Charcoal appears to be
you ever considered a career in radio or television? Then look no further. Call the Ohio Media School today. The Ohio Media School. We have 7 campuses to choose from, and it's a hands-on course that is taught by broadcast professionals who work in the field. This includes 160 externship and internship hours at area radio and TV stations. We have job placement assistants right here on campus, and you get a diploma when you graduate. For more information, call 216-503-5900 or beonair.com. That's BEONAIR.com. Ohio Media School, where broadcasting careers begin.
Welcome back to Split View with Kramer and Josh. Welcome to the Kramer Files, where each week we pick a different conspiracy and then tear it apart with our split views. Now, with no further ado, let's get to the Kramer File.
Hello and welcome back to Split View. If you were listening live, we had a little bit of an interruption there. Kramer forgot to press a button, so it did not air, but we did actually record that. Everything we were talking about got recorded. We had some stories about some local hockey affiliates and a renewal of a contract. Cleveland.com was down, and they are saying that there's a lot of different... what were some of those apps they were saying were down?
Amazon Music and Alexa products, so Disney Plus.
If you're having trouble with any of your apps, that's probably why. But we will make sure to get all this saved and posted up somewhere else later so you can go back and catch all that.
Correct.
In the meantime, since we are already running late and it's turned into a crazy day, I'm going to try to wrap this up as quick as possible, especially since our internet isn't working. But I do have something on my phone for us for today's Kramer Files. I saw this brought up a couple days ago on a podcast, and this one's real quick and easy, which is why I'm using it right now. There's a wildly popular conspiracy theory about a store called Mattress Firm.
I've heard of Mattress Firm.
Have you ever seen these mattress firms? They're all around.
I think so, yes.
There are usually multiple mattress firms. I can tell you just alone in Worcester, there are 3 of them all around town. And this conspiracy theory started a couple of years ago. And it started with people arguing that the company has too many stores and they're in high concentrations. You usually have multiple mattress firms all in the same area. They go on to say that that really doesn't make much sense when most mattresses are going to be used for like 7 to 10 years before anybody even thinks about getting a new mattress. It's not something that people buy often. So why do you need so many? And also, it also seems like anytime you pass by one of these stores, they're empty. So if they're always empty, they never seem to be doing business. Why are they always opening new stores, and why are there so many stores next to each other? Well, the comment on Reddit that started this conspiracy theory goes on to argue that they must be laundering money and using these businesses to bring in money. Now, the idea of laundering money, say you're like the mafia, and you have all these illegal activities going, and you're making all this money, but it was made illegally. So you can't put it into banks or stuff because then the government could come and take it from you because you have no way to prove how you made that money. This is where the idea of laundering money comes in. A lot of times somebody who is in that situation will give their money to a legal business, like Mattress Firm in this situation, and they will find a way to cover it up and then give it back to them in legitimate means, say stock in the company. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but recently, here in 2018, the company announced that they were not going to be putting out any more accounting reports because they've been having discrepancies and irregularities with their money inside the company. So this is kind of taken over like wildfire ever since the company announced that.
That makes me want to raise an eyebrow.
It seems like they're up to something shady, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, 100%.
South African retailer Steinhoff bought Mattress Firm for $3.8 billion in 2016. At the time, analysts were real skeptical about why Steinhoff had put so much money for a business that's increasingly threatened by new startups. Nowadays, you see commercials all the time for like all these different better mattresses, like the ones that contour to your back and can send you a mattress for like $100 in the mail.
Or like, this mattress can conform to your body.
Exactly. It's more comfortable, cheaper, and easier to get. But still, mattress firms keep opening new stores.
I haven't seen a commercial on TV for Mattress Firm in a while.
And that's another thing you bring, and I was thinking about it on the way up, and I almost forgot, but I have never seen a Mattress Firm commercial. Well, anyways, I'm going to leave that for everybody to ponder. Maybe in your spare time, look that up. Mattress Firm conspiracy theory. But tell me that ain't a little strange.
That is definitely a little strange.
Anyways, that's been about it for today's show. Sorry for that little part that everybody missed. We have the audio recording and the video, though, so we'll try to figure out how to get that up somewhere. In the meantime, check us out tomorrow on So What's the Catch? And coming here next week, same time, same Split View show every week. Anything you got, Josh?
Subscribe to Kramer Radio and Productions on YouTube, and subscribe to Unger to the Max on YouTube. And go subscribe to So What's the Catch on YouTube.
Yes, sir. You go do all that, and we will see y'all next week, because we are
out.
Welcome to the Kramer Files, where each week we pick a different...
At least we're trying to be out.
Yeah, everything was freezing up on me last minute.
So sexy, Miss Crandall. You're wearing the oldest disguise. What are you looking for, Miss Crandall? Something has caught
Hey you, what are you listening to?
Oh, it's South Landlocked Plateau, the best of bubblegum pop.
That's garbage. You should be listening to NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Frangle. Yeah, Frangle. Yeah. Never had who dream. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. Never had a favorite car. I just want them all. I just want them all. I just want them all, yeah. Versace my drawers and all. Giuseppe, I walk in the mall. I'm copping the drawers and all. Can't cuff you, know I'm a dog. I got Chanel on my paws. Get Nugent one car, that's all. She wanna mess with the gang and all. Me and Bun just got on the same bra. So they eat it up, all of that, and I won't call her back. What your girl doing? You know that I taught her that. Shawty a nat, pass her the bunker. She gon' do whatever I say for a follow back. Girl, for you walk in my room. Give me your phone, can't put me on Snapchat. Shawty said she got no friend. Girl, it's whatever, we gonna just pass that. Shawty a bird, half flat. Get in that swerve, scat pack. Kid to the curb, scratch that. I know lil' Shawty a free, man, I had that. Don't pay attention in Mac clad, no tip, but I bring her on rack. Got a 10 on me, 9 in the yard. Got Trey in the back with a 10 in the back. Millions on my iPhone. Presidential, we own. We real, you a clone. Get the guap and I'm gone. Lead the yo and do a show. Outfit cost a boat. Air Force is on coat. Diamond straight up off the boat. Never had who dream. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. Never had a favorite car. I just want them all. I just want them all. I just want them all, yeah. Versace my drawers and all. Giuseppe, I walk in the mall. I'm copping the drawers and all. Can't cuff you, know I'm a dog. I got Chanel on my paws. Get Nugent one car, that's all. She wanna mess with the gang and all. Me and Bun just got on the same bra.
Hop in the coupe, it's a fraud. My diamond hitting they gloss. Promise my team we gon' ball. I want the bag and all. Walk in the mall and tat on the wall. Don't even care what it costs. Hop in the coupe, it got gadgets. Yeah, watch me do magic. Let's go. Flipping these band like gymnastics. She got a fatty, no plastic. Checking my drip, fantastic. If you bout to grip, I'm at it. Add it up, stack it up. I'ma gon' rack it up. Told up, I'ma gon' back it up. Come here, beat, I'ma tear it up.
Yeah, ball, yeah, my ball. That 30 shots on me, yeah, you gon' need some gauze. No, I'm getting it, bitch, I'm trippin', ain't no flaws at all. Big blood, ain't no gimmick, I got slime balls. My Ruby, no Tuesday, yeah, we sweeping this whole block. Just like a broom day, my diamond gon' light up the whole place. Please, come get your dog, know that she sucking the whole place. The Cartier cover my face, dog, I ain't tryna look into your face. Nah, don't play with these bars, dog, know that they hot like the fireplace. Yeah, little bit of boy, you play, you know that we violate. Sad Phillips, wild drip, ethical on my hips. I place on her lips, got with on my hips.
Dream. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. I just wanna ball. Never had a favorite car. I just want them all. I just want them all. I just want them all, yeah. Versace my drawers and all. Giuseppe, I walk in the mall. I'm copping the drawers and all. Can't cuff you, know I'm a dog. I got Chanel on my paws. Get Nugent one car, that's all. She wanna mess with the gang and all. Me and Bun just got on the same bra. Beep, I'ma tear it up. Beep, I'ma tear it up. Beep, I'ma tear it up. Beep, I'ma tear it up.
Ain't no second guess, put that shit to rest. I never slept. No second guess. Back like I never left, like I never slept. I'm the best, ain't no second guess, put that shit to rest. Tired, I don't get tired, I bring the fire. A legend, I should retire, but I'm on fire. Back like I never left, like I never slept. I'm the best, ain't no second guess, put that shit to rest. Tired, I don't get tired, I bring the fire. A legend, I should retire, but I'm on fire. Rockin' to the beat like I be rocking you to sleep. Tino in the building, no persona, who they wanna see. Should retire, I got them fire, something to see. Made a promise to my family that I'm gonna be a king. Everybody sounded like me, I do